Hey guys, it is Julie here with JT Wealth. In today's video, we are discussing what you should do with your next stimulus check and where your first stimulus check could be had you invested in some of these popular companies. So let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back and thank you so much for being here. Today, we are discussing your stimulus check and what you should be doing with that extra money that's coming in. Now, if I were to ask you what you did or where your last stimulus payment went to, would you be able to give me an answer of what it did for you and how it went to work? Or did it just get mixed in with the rest of your funds and dwindle down from there? Now, did you invest that $1,200 and it's now worth more today? Or did you put it to great use by paying down some higher interest debt? Bottom line, did you use it to do something that betters your financial situation? Now, of course, during this pandemic, if you are having hard financial times, this money should definitely go towards making sure you stay on top of rent and different bills. And if you are carrying high interest debt, such as a credit card, that is one of the first places that this money should go. But if you were fortunate enough to not be affected financially or with your job during this pandemic, it could be a great opportunity to invest that stimulus check money and have it grow for you over the coming years. On that topic, I found a great article which highlights how much that first stimulus check could be worth now had you invested it in some well-known companies. So we're going to take a look at those, but first we're going to go through what details we know of this next stimulus check. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and that you leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to check out some of the great links in our description, which includes one of my favorite resources, TipRanks. Their free plan has a ton of great content, but their ultimate and premium plans come with some really great tools. So if you're thinking of signing up, make sure you use that link down below to let them know I sent you. All right, so as far as the next round of stimulus payments, the feds are likely to start sending $1,400 payments by late March. Under a proposal from Neil's office, American adults earning up to $75,000 and couples making $150,000 will likely be eligible for the full $1,400 stimulus checks that are part of the overall relief package. If approved by Congress and signed by Biden, the stimulus payments will phase out incrementally based on income, with individuals earning more than $100,000 and couples earning $200,000 receive nothing. Now, this stimulus package provides $1,400 per person, so a family of 4 could receive up to $5,600. These payments will be based on either 2019 or 2020 income tax returns. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at what the $1,200 from the first stimulus back in April could be worth now today if you invested in some popular stocks. Keep in mind, past performance is never a guarantee of future performance, but this is just a fun way to take a look and see what that $1,200 could have grown into. So if your $1,200 stimulus check had gone into these 8 stocks, you'd have cashed in big. And straight up, guys, the first one here is GameStop, and I almost didn't want to include it because this, of course, is not the norm. This is if you somehow decided to invest in GameStop back in last April when it was under $4 per share, and there was no whisper of this resurrection through Reddit. But if you had rolled the dice and taken that gamble with GameStop back in April, your $1,200 would be worth over $15,000 today. And yes, that is after the big drop in price that we've seen these past weeks from GameStop. That's a total increase of over 1,100%. And if you didn't have diamond hands and did sell that GameStop at their peak, that would have been over a 7,000% return. So of course, that one is a bit less realistic, I would say. But let's take a look at another one that many people have been holding this last year, and that is Tesla. Your $1,200 invested back in April would now be worth nearly $8,000 for about a 563% return. 2020 was a banner year for Tesla. Elon Musk's pioneering electric vehicle company split its stock in August and had its biggest year ever in terms of production. Even with the factory shutdowns that plagued the auto industry during the first wave, Tesla managed to deliver close to 500,000 cars in 2020. So had you invested that stimulus check in Tesla, you would now have what's worth 5.5 of those stimulus checks. Now, next up, we have a long-term favorite, and that is Apple. Apple has seen a total increase of about 102% since last April, and your $1,200 investment would now be worth about $2,423. Now, 2020 was a big year for Apple as they became the first company to ever reach a $2 trillion company valuation. What's even more impressive about that stat is that all of Apple's second $1 trillion came between March and August at the height of the pandemic. Apple also saw a huge surge in stock prices in December, which many analysts chalked up to industry buzz, suggesting the company has begun working on an electric vehicle that would give Tesla a run for its money. Another well-known company that has seen some solid growth is Amazon. They've seen a total increase of 53% since last April, and that $1,200 would now be worth over $1,800. Of course, with 2020 being spent mostly in lockdown, a lot of people turned to online shopping, and Amazon definitely reaped the benefits there. Amazon saw sales for the full 2020 fiscal year total $386 billion, which was a 38% increase from 2019. As an added feather in its cap, in Q4, Amazon became one of only 2 tech companies to ever post more than $100 billion in quarterly sales. Next up, we have the Alphabet stock, or Google. They saw a total increase of over 72%, and that $1,200 will be worth over $2,000 today. After a major slowdown in Q2 due to the pandemic, the parent company behind Google and YouTube finished 2020 strong, wrapping up $56.9 billion in revenue during Q4, which was an impressive 23% growth over the previous year. Following Alphabet's announcement of its fourth quarter earnings earlier this month, its stock jumped more than 7% in a single day, hitting a record high of over $2,100 per share. Next up, we have a company who definitely saw some decline at the beginning of the pandemic, but has recovered beautifully since then, and that is Walt Disney. Since April, they've seen a total increase of 83%, and that $1,200 would now be worth $2,200. Now, the start of the pandemic hit Disney hard as they had to close down a lot of their theme parks, movie theaters were shut down, and they had to dock all of their cruise ships. Fortunately for the House of Mouse, it still owns massive properties like Pixar, Star Wars, ESPN, and Marvel Cinematic Universe, not to mention a streaming service that currently boasts more than 86 million paid subscribers. In fact, by December, Disney stock had climbed up to a new record high, so there's no need to worry about Mickey and Pluto winding up on the streets. Next up is Macys, who actually surprised me by how much they were able to recover from their initial decline from the pandemic. Since April, they've seen a growth of 151%, so your $1,200 stimulus check would now be worth over $3,000. Now, along with countless other big-name brands, the decline in retail sales caused by the pandemic forced Macys to permanently shutter a number of its physical locations, with more closures on the way in 2021. However, the company's decision to streamline its operations and focus on e-commerce and its best-performing stores seems to have paid off. Share prices have seen significant growth since the start of the new year. And last up is a company that took a nosedive at the beginning of the pandemic back in February and March. Now, they have seen some solid recovery, but they're still nowhere near their pre-pandemic highs. And that is Carnival. Now, since April, they have seen a total increase of 87.91%. So your $1,200 stimulus would be worth about $2,254. The pandemic couldn't have been worse for Carnival Cruise Lines. With border closures and travel restrictions taking a devastating bite out of its bottom line, Carnival reported a net loss of over $10 billion. But they're still up more than 100% from the low point that they hit in early April. And as the coronavirus vaccine continues to roll out and Americans inch closer towards a time where they can safely embark on a cruise again, Carnival stock will stay on the rebound. Now, as I mentioned before, past performance of a stock is never a guarantee of performance in the future, but this is just meant to show you how much you could have had if you had invested that rather than just letting it sit in a basic savings account or just spending it on little things along the way. Now, again, this is in no way to make you feel bad if you're not able to invest this money. Make sure you're taking care of all your necessities first and paying down that high interest debt. But if you do have the ability to save some of this money, make sure you're putting it to work for you so that you can see it grow over the coming year. Now, you guys know I always love hearing from you, so I would love to know your thoughts on some of these companies. Have you been invested in any of them over this last year? And what are your plans for this next upcoming stimulus check? Keep Keep in mind, these videos are never a suggestion to buy or sell any specific stock and are just meant for entertainment and information purposes. Any investment decision needs to be made based on your own research and due diligence. If you made it all the way to the end of today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and that you're subscribed to the channel as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and cheers.